Katowice, the Christmas of Starcraft, the Super Bowl of RTS. How excited am I to be casting replays from the event of the year. But enough about that, DRG's not making drones. We're starting this off with a bit of a bang here. Low ground pylon for Haz, which is suboptimal. There goes our pool. It's a 12 pool, it's a full-on rush. There's a certain irony here, because this guy's name is an acronym that stands for Do Not Rush This Guy. He is DRG! I kid, of course, it's Don Ragu. Quick grammatical lesson, don't say have when you're using the possessive verb of the past. Say has! Oh, there's some indication this might not be all in. DRG might be looking to expand it as natural. Haz did not scout, not even with a gate and go. That's kind of 2 strikes against him now. He's in a bit of trouble. 6 lings in production, no queen. The lings are going to finish even before the gate. Haz has no reason to make a zealot. That he knows of. In actuality, he has 6 reasons. DRG does expand. He's doing this gasless. Haz has assimilated his first gas. Lings are on the way. Are they going to take the direct route or are they going to try to sneak over? There's no scouting probe for them to avoid. Haz with Nexus before core, even slightly worse if that was possible. He is going to scout after the core. Lings halfway across the map. The gateway is done, but it's not producing. Instead, Haz elects for a second gas, which is very normal, but not very useful. Lings arrive and the wall's not close to being done. DRG knows exactly what to do. He goes after the pylon. Haz pulls his probes. He's chrono boosting his zealot, but it's not going to finish in time. Lings get the pylon. Can the probes clean up the lings? Cybercore is cancelled. Lings 7 and 8 arrive. They go right after the new pylon. Haz is barely mining. And 2 more lings are joining the fray. This is a ridiculously hard spot, and Haz knows it. He taps out. That is a super fast game 1. That was pretty close to a build order win. Haz neither scouted nor made units. DRG sniped the critical pylon. Haz, of course, is brilliant and legendary for his colorful cheese. And this was a classic case of let's cheese the cheeser. Rather than wait to see what Haz might bring, DRG just went right at him. This happens to Haz a lot, and he's probably not entirely surprised to see it. He was, though, clearly surprised that DRG would do it to him. Haz is the underdog in this matchup, so conventional wisdom holds that all DRG needs to do to win is play standard. But conventional wisdom isn't what got DRG where he is today. So a good call, and that puts him in a good place, as this is just a best of 3, so let's get ourselves off to game 2. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Game 2, how will Haz adjust? Normally everyone cautions against an overreaction. It's what your opponent expects and can take advantage of. But it's hard. This is a really big stage, and one more loss and Haz is out. Protoss opts for the low ground pylon once again. The rush distance will be slightly larger on Pillars of Gold. That should afford him a little more time to react. DRG is making drones this time. It's hard to imagine that DRG is currently teamless. He was at one time the best Zerg in the world. That, though, was 2012, and this is a very different meta. To put it in perspective, DRG used to battle MVP. Oh, I am so wrong. It's a 14 pool. DRG is getting aggressive once again. Our Zerg player is the first player to ever reach 4,000 ladder points on the Korean server. He is DRG! And post-military, he is still a terror.
Current world rank 31.
Though I guess it's possible that we're looking at a defensive spawning pool. A 14 pool may be saying, I think my opponent's about to cheese me back, so I need to get ready. This time Haz's probe gets the scout. He saw that the natural went down almost 30 seconds late, and he can plainly see that the pool is almost done. He knows what happened. He puts down his nexus, he's gonna get his core. DRG gets a very delayed gas and starts up 4 lanes. Also a queen, so this is really looking rather defensive to me now. But all the same, our Protoss player knows that walling off his natural is something he has to do.
Current world rank 58.
Now, while I make DRG sound like an ancient veteran, Haas isn't exactly a spring chicken either. He's been around since 2014. Okay, Ling's on the way. Where's that wall? If we have ourselves another quick game here, it's going to be a really short series. Haas is waiting for his cyber core so he can put down his tech choice. He does have a zealot for a door guard on the way. This is going to be kind of close. No, not that close. I'm being a drama llama. Haas has this. Those are 4 Lings who are about to be frustrated. Watch this probe. Don't you guys know where the secret door is? He just slides right through. Workers have this amazing ability where if they click on minerals, they can phase through. So that actually turned out okay for Haas. DRG got the scout on his starport. That's bad. But DRG is behind where he would normally be economically. He got no value for his conservative build. Though I get the thinking. He was up a game, and there was every chance it could get him the victory. DRG is going to take his 3rd, and he's going to get busy on queen production because he knows something's coming out of that Stargate. And since that Stargate's finishing up, we will get to see what it is. It's a Void Ray. DRG elected to retreat with his Overlord, so he's not going to get to see what it is. The Adept's going to keep tabs on its location because he wants to hunt it down with that Void Ray. DRG's going to send his Lings to check what's coming out of that Stargate. The Void Ray's getting chrono boosted, the Warp Gate is not. I looked it up, and remarkably, these 2 players have not hit each other in an official tournament in 5 years. It was 2016, and Haz actually beat DRG 2-1 in an invitational. The Void Ray's out, and he's going hunting for that Overlord. The Ling is just a little bit too late to catch what it is, but I'm afraid that Overlord's going to find out anyway. He's also going to get the honor of being our first blood. You'll have to excuse me, I just kind of live for this. That is a supply block, but it's going to be a brief one. Ling speed being researched for Zerg, and a Twilight Council for Protoss. So even though there's a Void Ray, it's not the classic double Stargate. The Queens chase the Adept from the 3rd, and DRG is making a lot of Queens. He's also making Spores. The Stargate Void Ray could be a kind of fake. We've seen Neeb do this before. You get your opponent all worried about the Void Rays and then you go for something else. Which in this case could be a glaive timing because that's what's being researched right now. It would be a late one though. There's a high probability that by the time it hits, DRG's gonna have a Roach War. Oh, here comes an accompanying gateway explosion. Haas is going up to 7 gates. The Void Ray is a total fake out. Haas didn't put his Stargate in his wall as an emergency. He wanted DRG to see it. And now DRG has no Overlords around to scout. He's relying on his Lings. And yeah, more Spores coming up. Though DRG might get suspicious when he doesn't see anything else coming out of that starport. DRG starts his lair tech. No Baneling Nest, no Roach Warren. I do believe we're seeing some quality mind games at work here. DRG is just making Lings and Queens, which is exactly what Haz wants. He starts his 3rd, but the real event is that his gateway explosion is finishing. And now Haz's army size is going to skyrocket as he starts to add Adepts. DRG is just droning away. He has a big income advantage. There we go, a Roach Warren and an Evo Chamber. That's what he needs. The weakness in Haz's plan is how late it is. The strength of the plan is that it's going to have a lot of dudettes who know how to kill stuff. Oh, we got a door challenge. DRG would love to get a look inside. Haz is hiding his Adepts. He doesn't want to bring him up to help, but he's going to lose that Zealot. Oh, it's an extra gateway to seal the wall. DRG is badly trying to get a look inside. He cannot see the Adepts. They're hidden. And it's the Void Rays that are going to save the wall. And with that, DRG is going to cancel the gateway, and I think he's going to push out. Glaives is done. Oh, big warping. DRG making a whole bunch of roaches. He's caught on. Scooby says, Ruh-roh! DRG is also going to start roach speed. That's great. And a spine crawler. He's giving this the respect it deserves. Ah, and here's what he really needs. The Evo wall off at the natural. He's got to kill a tumor to get it up. But he's gonna get it, and just in time. There's the shade. Every Zerg unit outside that locked door of alien flesh is in trouble, though. The Adepts just descend on those queens. DRG cancels the Evo to unlock the door and get the rest of his roaches out. He remakes it to block the shade. But it doesn't look like he can make roaches fast enough. He's making 11 at a time. How that's not enough, I can't quite fathom, but Haz is killing everything. Oh, DRG's gonna try to evacuate his drones to his natural. Haz tries to follow them with a shade. And the door is slammed shut. A great escape, but once again, everything outside is in so much trouble. With the queens all gone, the roaches can't handle the void rays. Zerg's third base is in a huge amount of peril. But if he can keep his door lock in place, he just might hold. Haz has so many adepts, he's gonna try to brute force it down. He's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with the roaches at this point. DRG just got roach speed. The roaches at the third turn to fight. I think that means they're going to get slaughtered. They just don't have the hit points to be a factor. DRG kills his own Evo so he can get outside with reinforcements. Haz immediately shades for the door, but it is denied again. The Evo door control has been sensational, but Haz continues to rule the outside. This is really quite awesome. Another 10 roaches in production. 7 more adepts warping in at home. Haz cleans up at the third, and he's battering away at the door, which DRG now opens. Who's got this ungodly slugfest? DRG has to rebuild his door, and he traps half of his forces outside. He split his roaches. That results in an easy cleanup for Haz. The stranded queen is going to die to the reinforcements. Haz is cutting his way inside here, and there's not enough roaches on the inside. The shade is in. This is now an official nightmare for the Zerg. The Adepts go for the natural. That is where the drones are. They start to die in droves. Don Regru has no answer except for the GG key. Haz ties the series in a very cool game. Oh, sorry. We gotta talk about this one. Oh, yes, we do. 2 things. Number 1, Haz faked his glaive timing by faking a void ray. I've seen it before, but this version is kind of cool because the void rays really ended up playing a key role. I'm not sure that's what Haz meant to have happen. I think he would have been happier if he fooled DRG and there were no roaches at all. And for a second, it looked like that was going to be the case. But that's the neat part of this build. Instead of having to scrounge for immortals to battle the roaches as a follow-up, he has his roach killers already on hand. The drawback was how late the attack hit, but as we saw here, it didn't seem to matter. 2. DRG had a killer economy at the time of the attack. Well over 60 drones. He had the money flowing in to produce an army big enough to hold this. He had terrible luck in that he kept splitting that army in half with his Evo doors. Maybe that wasn't bad luck. Maybe this was the genius of Haz's attack. His shades were triggering the closures. What if he timed it? I don't know. I gotta wonder though, if DRG sacks his third and hides behind his Evo wall, does that give him the time to mass enough queens and turn his roaches into ravagers to hold? If he holds with that economic lead, he could emerge to win the game. Anyways, kudos to Haz. I felt like I was watching Zest. A Protoss delayed a teeny tiny step by time, but still so dominant cerebrally, he finds a way to win. Anyways, we've got a tied series. We're going to settle this with the next game. Adjutant, if you would, please.
The game begins now.
All right, let's settle this. Shall it be with swords, pistols at 10 paces, or perhaps Jagannatha? Our Protoss underdog has tied things up, and he's now going to start the action for us with a high ground pylon. It's been 2 early pools for DRG in a row. You can bet we're going to be watching what happens at that hatchery. My guess is, with the series on the line, everybody's going to be scouting like crazy. One of our 2 players is about to get hurled unceremoniously down into the lower bracket, where they will face elimination against another hungry, highly ranked pro. Haz with the gate and go. 2 early pools means you have to know what your opponent is up to. And he is quite possibly up to something. We've got ourselves a hatch block at the natural. No, we don't. He changes his mind and goes for the scout instead. No, not a scout. He drops the hatch right in what is supposed to be his opponent's future wall. Haz, of course, has full vision of this. He sends a probe right at it. That is not going to be enough DPS. His gateway is not yet done. Meanwhile, the scouting probe is going to see that his opponent has gone for an 18 pool extractor. We've seen the hatch and wall trick before on this channel, and it is nasty. Time to learn how Haz deals with it. He puts down his core, and he's chrono boosting a zealot. The placement of that hatchery is really ugly. It's not practical to do a re-wall. To the extent there's an accepted response strategy, that is what you would normally do. We are not going to see it here. That zealot is going to see if he can persuade DRG to cancel. Meanwhile, Haz has tried a pylon block back at the Zerg natural. Meanwhile, DRG is just going to go around it and go for the unnatural natural. Certainly Zerg has a lot of experience with that. A second zealot is in production. It's not getting chrono boosted. Unless DRG pulls the plug, that hatch is going to finish and there's going to be creeps spewing everywhere. And it's a geyser. There is no possibility of finishing that wall now. DRG grabs the first larva coming out of the hatch and makes 2 lings with it. There are now 2 zealots going to town on that hatch. It's just gone into the red. An adept is the third thing that will come out of that warp gate. DRG is making 4 lings back at home. His first 2 are here. They're going to try to cause some chaos at the main, but I've said it before, probes can deal with 2 lings. The hatch falls and the zealots race away to try to deal with the broodlings. They time out, but in the chaos, one of the lings killed a probe. The second ling is about to die. Technically, Haz is cleaned up, save for the goopy purple mess in his base. Somebody needs to get a mop and a bucket for that. The remaining larva suicides as the creep retreats. Pylon is dealt with, Zerg takes the third. Our Zerg player has a place on Team Liquid's list of the greatest players of all time. He is DRG! Although nothing about this game is ordinary, things have kind of stabilized. Our Protoss player is revered as an innovator of cheese. He is Haz! Yeah, those lings have to turn back. They have to know they forced out a ton of units from the Protoss. 2 of which are adepts, and Haz is going to see if he can get something done with them. The problem is those aren't going to be slowlings for long. And DRG is going to swell their numbers by 6. If they're careful, they could get some drone snipes, or they could find they've bit off more than they can chew. Here come the speedlings. The shade is away. The adepts get pinned. They're taking heavy damage. They get away. That blood belongs to lings only. But the adepts are trapped behind enemy lines, and DRG is not done with them yet. 8 lings converge on the adepts who are trapped once again, and this time they will not shade away. But they did get a drone and 3 lings out of their excursion. Oh, look at this split here. This is a scouting job worthy of Rogue. DRG is very suspicious. He's going to scour every corner of this map. You and I, though, know that, currently at least, there's nothing that's actually hidden anywhere. Haz is going to work on his +1. He's going to get himself an upgrade lead. There's no Evo chamber for Zerg just yet. Instead, he started a Roach Warren. Not surprising there, DRG had a close call last game, whereas Roach Warren came just at the last moment. A mini gateway explosion for Haz. He's adding 4 gates really to complete his wall here. What's weird about this though is there's no tech choice. No Stargate, no Twilight, no Robo. It's like his tech is a fast +1. The sentries make a hallucinated Phoenix so they can get vision to go after that Overlord. Normally you get vision of that position by putting a unit by the Cyber Core. But due to early game excitement, it has been blocked off. There's our delayed tech. It's a Twilight Council. I feel better now. DRG has stopped droning. He's making roaches. 6 in production. Haz actually has more workers right now. And he's setting up to secure his 3rd. His army, though, it's all low tech. Roaches are going to be tough to deal with. That Phoenix flies over and finds absolutely 0 buildings at the middle base location. If he clicked on the larva, though, he saw the roaches in construction. Okay, Haas is adding a robo. Something tells me he's going to be wishing he had an immortal. Still no drones for DRG. He's adding 16 lings, and he's turning some of his roaches into ravagers. And it's looking like the attack is already started. DRG is racing for that third base with mass aggression. The Protoss army composition is looking pretty weak. We're about to find out how important +1 is. It definitely makes a big difference against Zerglings. The 3-shot becomes a 2-shot. DRG is perched right outside that third, adding additional Ravagers. The Lings are going to try to distract Haas, pull him out of position, and expose that third. They have succeeded, but Haas is going to make him pay for it. He slaughters those Lings. Meanwhile, DRG takes down the pylon and the shield battery. Haas really wanted that battery. DRG has prevented a battery overcharge from swinging this fight. Neither player's making workers anymore. DRG adds 26 more Lings. Haas is going to start +2 attack and the Zealot leg upgrade. You don't usually get to see a double upgrade advantage in action that much. DRG's going the opposite route. He's just making a lot of stuff. That Nexus completes, but it's already in the yellow. Those Lings would love to get on the Stalkers. The Zealots are shredding them hard. Still, DRG has a much bigger army supply, almost double. Oh, the Lings are going to get a position over that Nexus. They're going to chew it right up. Oh, for a second I thought they were going to let it live. Third is lost. So is the unpowered shield battery. Haas is not making units, but his Zealot leg upgrade is about to complete. Ladies and gentlemen, Haas has charge lots, and he has a lot of them. Even as Haas micros this fight, he's taken the time to chrono boost his +2 attack upgrade. He's really thinking about what that could do for him. Of course, he knows he needs that battle duck. DRG is getting a lair. He's also started an Evo chamber. And just to mess with me, he's decided to drone up a bit, adding 3 more. We might have seen the end of this phase, each side claiming victory. DRG claiming the third, Haas claiming the big hold. Let's not pretend that DRG didn't invest heavily in that. But what happens next? Haas presumably is going to start adding Archons, adding his first real piece of tech in Splash. Oh, but also a Warp Prism. Haas has been known to do nasty things with Warp Prisms. DRG reveals what he got his lair for. He's started Roach Speed. Also +1 ranged attack. DRG's main force has been withdrawn, but these Lings are still looking to see if they can grab an Immortal. They're lucky to get away with their lives. And DRG does not want to lose them. They still have value. At this phase of the game, Zerg likes to use the Zealots to trap the Protoss ball in place. A ball that can't move is easy prey for corrosive biles. Oh, Haas is planning an attack to unfold right as his +2 hits. There's going to be a good-sized window while Protoss has a double upgrade advantage. DRG's Lings are going to try to buy time by trying to lure the Protoss army back. Haas won't take the bait. He's pushing on a creep. And behind this attack, he's remaking his third. Oh, and with a Warp Prism, he's going to be able to reinforce. Oh, a lone Zealot acts as the door guard, but it's a +2 Zealot. Haas is merging that third Archon. He's starting to look a little bit scary here. DRG's building an Evo wall. No, he gives up on that idea. He comes out to meet the Protoss. With the Queens added in, he has a much bigger army. The lateral third base of the Zerg is exposed. Haas is going to swing for it. Or at least he slips in some charge lots. His main army is going to try to defend. DRG pulls his drones. He throws all his larvae into making 9 more roaches. Make that 12. And he's going to need them because the +2 Archon Immortal is doing so much damage. There's red blood everywhere. This looks to be close. I cannot tell who's got this. Oh, an additional warp-in of Zealots. They're going to get right on the Ravagers. That's the heart of the Zerg army. DRG has to pull back. He retreats to his mineral line, but you can't outrun a charge lot. The next roach wave pops right about now. DRG needs to aggregate them into a powerful fist. They can be picked off one at a time. Oh, big warp-in of 6 charge lots. A corrosive bile hits the Warp Prism, but it survived. He needed a second one. And that's game. Oh my god, that's the series. Has just beat DRG. He's gonna advance. I know that Has won the game, but it's hard to attribute the win to any one thing. DRG's hatch in the wall routine was a flop in this instance. Has dealt with it, no problem. I think there just wasn't enough lings supporting the attack, and so Has was able to focus down the hatch long before a queen could ever be made. And by enough lings, I mean there weren't actually any coming from his base. So that lets Has get ahead. But does that actually explain the win here? We also got to consider Has got double upgrades. That's big. But was that enough to explain the win? I also note DRG didn't really land any of those killer caustic biles he's so good at. If you're going to go Ling Ravager, that's a big element of the plan. You want those lings to sort of catch the Protoss army and pack them and hold them in place, and then bam, the biles hit. So I don't think it was any one thing, but collectively enough balls bounced Has's way that he was able to make this work. And it was a close game, right to the end. But now let me take a second to show you something really fun. Okay, so you know how the kids these days all play Floor is Lava? I know, that was like so 2019. But I think that baby larva like to play The Floor is Not Creep. Check it out. Cool game, huh? Kids, do not try this at home. I love how the zealots take a little look at the gore as they run by. I have to reinforce, children should not try this at home. Your parents and teachers do not approve of you spontaneously combusting into pools of blood. Lastly, I feel like I should excuse how I can be a Starcraft fan that actually casts games, but still have not watched Katowice. The truth is, I have. I've watched a bunch of it, and I totally know who won this tournament, and even the top 8. But I saved a bunch of games, and now I get to go back and cast them. Life is good. And since I was kind of busy editing Starcraft casts anyway, I was never going to be able to watch the whole thing. So, that's the story. Not like you cared, but I wanted you to know. And I also wanted to say, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your Starcraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your Starcraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.